Have you ever heard about a Lord of Flies? No, me neither. That's because it's an expression in the Bible for Satan. The expression is not very common, but it is the title of the book I read. The book Lord of the Flies is about a plane that crashed on an island in the middle of the ocean. You will read about the passengers and the way they survive on the deserted island. On the deserted island, the group has a lot of difficulties they have to deal with and they need to solve to survive. The main character, Ralph, is 12 years old and will take the lead in the challenge to survive. It is not easy to lead the group because some people are rebellious. They do not follow the rules and they do not accept the decisions that Ralph makes. That's why a rebellious group emerged with Jack as a leader. From the beginning, Jack was the leader of the hunting group. As the story goes on, the hunting group, which is led by Jack, becomes more and more rebellious and starts to divide from Ralph's group. After a lot of confrontations which led to multiple deaths, Ralph has to run from the barbarian group of Jack. While running away, Ralph runs into a captain of a ship. He comes to save all the children. Here ends the story. As I told you guys, the main character of the book is Ralph. Ralph is 12 years old and is a round character. This means that Ralph changes throughout the whole storyline. At the beginning of the book, Ralph could open up himself to pleasures on the island because there were no adults. He was finally free. He also was pretty naive and excited. Later on in the book, Ralph has to lead the group on the island. This job was very difficult and Ralph had to be very responsible. Not only this, but also the sad things that happened to him and his friends, like the death of Piggy and Simon, changed Ralph. Later on, Ralph is way less naive and excited, but he was way more responsible and serious. I hear you think, what's the book's theme? Well, the theme is not surprising. It is surviving. This is the theme of the book because the passengers of the plane need to survive on the deserted island, and the whole book is about how the passengers survive. When the passengers are on the island, all rules and morals of society fall apart and the only thing that counts is surviving. I thought this was very interesting to read because William Golding showed very well how society would look like if surviving is the only goal. This theme is relatable to any time in the history of people because people always need to survive. The theme surviving is relevant to our time because, for example, the people in Syria have to survive because there is war. They are not certain they will survive and they do everything to survive, just like the kids on the island in the book. The passage in the book that most struck me was the moment where Ralph runs from Jack's group and runs into the captain of the ship. This struck me the most because while reading this passage, I felt the relief that Ralph felt when he realized he finally could go home and he didn't have to worry about Jack's group. I would recommend the book Lord of the Flies to all of my fellow students who love to read books that are easy to read and are not too long. It took me a few hours to read the book and I read it in just one day. It is very hard to stop reading the book. I personally find it very hard to start reading a book because I think reading is not fun and a bit boring. I had the same problem with Lord of the Flies, but once I started reading, I just couldn't stop. This was my book vlog. Thank you for watching.